Hi guys, this is Oscar. Oscar, look. Okay, that was even shorter than I expected. I knew he wasn't gonna stay the whole video, but I thought he'd be longer than that. Anyway, this video was supposed to be up on July 29th, the third anniversary of my channel. For some reason, didn't occur to me for some reason that I might not be feeling up to doing it on the day of, and I should have done it ahead of time on a day I was up to it, and then I could post it, on the day of. Um, that all skipped my mind for some reason. So you're getting it a few days late. So yes, technically it's August. But this is not your August video. The August video will be later in the month. So for my third anniversary, I wanted to do something a little bit fun and lighter than the stuff I generally talk about. Next video, for example, is going to be about police and the disabled community. So this is something a little later. So I introduced you to Oscar. I believe that everyone who can afford and can manage should have a pet. For someone like me with mental disorders and medical problems, it's amazing to have someone or something that loves you unconditionally. He doesn't care if I sleep weird hours, if I gain weight. He doesn't tell me to exercise more. He doesn't tell me the tone of my voice is rude. So all of the downsides of dealing with humans don't exist. He's my companion. He loves me unconditionally. And I think everyone should get to experience that, and sadly, not everyone is. The 20th century, obviously unprecedented in terms of change, technological, cultural, and so forth. And obviously, good things came with that, like longer life expectancy, higher standard of living. All of those have downsides too, like age-related illnesses. One negative that came from that, though, I feel, is that humans are becoming more and more disconnected from animals. Far fewer people live on farms now than 100 years ago. In no way am I romanticizing subsistence farming. I couldn't imagine living like that. But the upside or unupside to that is it normalizes being around animals. And people are losing that now. Some people don't want animals in their house. They're scared of them. They think they're dirty. They think it's a big deal. And we're losing something in that. My grandparents, I like to joke, raised my mom and my aunt in a small zoo, and then they raised their kids in small zoos. And none of us lived anywhere rural at all. My mom was raised in East York, which is now a part of Toronto. It used to be its own city. Very old established area. I don't know how far back you'd have to go to find farms there. Even when my grandparents were there 70, odd years ago, it was developed. It was not rural. And yet they had tons of pets. They had cats, dogs, you know, at various times, hamsters. I don't know if there were gerbils, rabbits, birds. Her parents contemplated getting a spider monkey, but never did. And these people didn't have a lot of money either. But what they had, both my grandparents having come from farms, is they had this comfortableness. That was a word I want, but I can't find. They were okay with animals. Animals were normal. Um, and I'm not saying everything should be emulated about past attitudes. Like my grandfather, he grew up subsistence farming. He slaughtered animals for food. As much as he enjoyed having them around, they were utilitarian. They were for work and food. They weren't worth a lot of time and money. And he would think the vet care and the toys and food and all the money I spent on my guy there, Oscar, he would find that ridiculous. So that's a little bit old fashioned. Or in other parts of the world, people who live different ways. But for a modern suburban person, that's not an attitude I would necessarily emulate. Not all parts of it anyway. But the part of it where it's okay to have animals around is not a big deal. Everyone, I think, needs to think that way. And even in the 60s, my mom and my aunt were kids, things were done differently. Their dog did not come in the house. It lived in the garage. Animals weren't spayed and neutered. Dogs weren't kept on leashes. Totally normal to see a lactating dog walk down the street. I think I've seen one lactating dog in my whole life. Right, so again, we know better now, right? We know how to properly take care of an animal. And if you can't afford vet care, if you can't manage to care for an animal, you shouldn't have one. Okay? But everyone who can should, as far as I'm concerned, because there are so many benefits, even if you don't have mental disorders and health problems. Better mental health in general, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol. Somehow, there are benefits to owning pets. And I'm extremely glad I grew up around animals. I think it teaches children compassion as well. And the thing is, like, I guess what I could say is we need to combine new and old attitudes, the best of both. The old attitudes of animals being normal, not a big deal, fine to have them, combining with more modern understanding of being responsible, paying for vet care, making sure you're caring for the animal properly. But it doesn't have to be that huge of a deal. A new puppy is a big deal, yes. A hamster or a goldfish, other than setup and making sure you're not making mistakes, like a hamster's cage needs to be big enough, goldfish needs to be in an aquarium with a filter, things like that. Once you know the basics and get it set up, it can slip easily into your routine and just become part of everyday life, and you can reap the benefits of having a pet. And I think everyone who can should. I don't know that there's too much more to say about that. I hoped Oscar would stay longer because it was going to be a short video. But that's my short little fun video about pets and the benefits of pets. And yeah, next month back to the heavier topics. So thank you for watching.